My dear child, have you ever wondered why some ordinary days become the very days people remember for the rest of their lives? Perhaps today feels like every other day. You woke up carrying the same worries, the same unanswered prayers, and the same quiet hope that maybe, just maybe, something will finally change. But what if this day isn't ordinary at all? What if the next 24 hours hold a moment that you cannot yet see? Take a deep breath and stay with me until the end, because the question I'm about to ask may change the way you look at your own life. What if heaven has already prepared an answer, but you're only moments away from recognizing it? Before we continue, I'd like to hear from you. Have you been praying for something that hasn't happened yet? Write Amen in the comments if you're still believing, and tell us, what is one breakthrough you're hoping for? Your comment may encourage someone else who feels alone today. There are moments in life when everything seems silent. No signs. No answers. No clear direction. You keep wondering whether your prayers are reaching beyond the ceiling. You begin asking yourself difficult questions. Did I miss my opportunity? Has God forgotten me? Why does everyone else seem to move forward while I remain in the same place? If you've ever asked those questions, you're not alone. Many people throughout history experienced seasons where nothing appeared to be changing. Yet behind the scenes, everything was already in motion. Imagine standing before a giant door made of solid gold. From the outside, it never moves. It looks locked. It looks impossible. But on the other side, people are already preparing to open it. The only thing left is the exact moment. Life often works like that. We judge our future by what we can see today. But the greatest changes usually begin where human eyes cannot see. Think about a seed beneath the ground. For weeks, nothing appears to happen. Yet beneath the surface, roots are growing stronger every single day. The person looking from above thinks nothing is happening. Nature knows a different story. Sometimes the greatest work happens in complete silence. And perhaps your own life is in one of those silent seasons. Not because nothing is happening, but because preparation is taking place where you cannot yet see. Let me ask you another question. Have you ever looked back at your life and realized that something painful eventually became the reason for one of your greatest blessings? If that's happened to you, write I remember in the comments. Someone reading your words today may find hope because of your story. Every delay teaches something. Every closed door protects from something. Every season of waiting shapes someone. That doesn't make waiting easy. But it reminds us that waiting isn't always wasted. Now imagine an ancient clock standing in the middle of heaven. Its hands never move too early. They never move too late. Every second arrives exactly when it should. Not because people are ready, but because the appointed moment has arrived. What if many of the disappointments you've experienced were not the end of your story? What if they were simply preparing you to recognize the moment that changes everything? Stay with me, my dear friends. Before we continue, I want you to make me one promise. Don't rush through this message. Don't treat it like another video playing in the background while you're busy with something else. Give yourself these next few minutes. Listen with an open heart, because sometimes the answers we've been searching for don't come in loud voices, they arrive quietly, one thought at a time. Can I ask you something? Have you ever looked around and felt like everyone else's life was moving forward while yours seemed frozen in place? Maybe someone you know received the opportunity you had been praying for. Maybe another person found peace while you were still fighting battles no one could see. Maybe you've smiled in front of people while carrying a burden so heavy that you didn't even know how to explain it. If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. In fact, some of the strongest people in the world are the ones who continue walking forward even when they can't see where the road is leading. Now let me ask you another question. What is the one thing you've been waiting for the longest? Is it healing? A restored relationship? A new beginning? A financial breakthrough? Or simply one day when you can finally breathe without carrying so much weight on your shoulders? Tell me in the comments with just one word. Your story might encourage someone who is silently fighting the same battle. The truth is, waiting is never easy. Every passing day can make hope feel a little smaller. Every unanswered prayer can make silence feel a little louder. Every delay can tempt us to believe that nothing is changing. But what if that isn't true? What if the silence isn't empty? What if something is already happening beyond what your eyes can see? Think about an artist creating a masterpiece. When you look at the unfinished canvas, it doesn't make sense. There are random colors, incomplete shapes, and empty spaces. If you judged the painting too early, you might think it would never become beautiful. But the artist isn't finished. The masterpiece isn't complete. Life often feels exactly like that. We judge the middle of the story as if it were the ending. We decide that because today is difficult, tomorrow must be difficult too. But history has shown us again and again that one unexpected moment can change everything. Sometimes it's a conversation. Sometimes it's an opportunity. Sometimes it's the courage to take one step you were afraid to take yesterday. And sometimes it's simply refusing to give up one day before everything begins to change. Imagine standing at the edge of a mountain before sunrise. The entire sky is dark. Cold winds surround you. Nothing suggests that morning is coming. If you judged the future by what you could see at that exact moment, you would believe the darkness would last forever. But the sun doesn't ask for permission to rise. It rises at the appointed time. Slowly. Quietly. Until the whole horizon is filled with light. Maybe that's where you are today. Not at the end of your story. Not forgotten. Not abandoned. Maybe you're simply standing in the final moments before the sunrise you've been waiting for. And here's something I want you to remember. Never confuse silence with absence. Some of life's greatest changes happen long before we recognize them. The roots grow before the tree appears. The dawn begins before the sunlight reaches our eyes. Preparation often happens in places we cannot see. So instead of asking, why is nothing happening? Perhaps a better question is, what is being prepared that I cannot see yet? Pause for a moment and think about that. Then write I still believe in the comments if you're choosing hope today instead of fear. Your words could become the encouragement that another viewer desperately needs. Now imagine a magnificent golden clock unlike anything you've ever seen. It doesn't belong to any building. It isn't controlled by human hands. Every tick reminds us that time continues moving, even when we feel stuck. Every second carries the possibility of a new beginning. Every minute whispers that your story is still being written. Too many people quit because they mistake a delay for a denial. They walk away just before the door begins to open. They stop believing just before the answer arrives. Don't let that become your story. Because sometimes the greatest breakthrough is only one decision away. One conversation away. One opportunity away. One unexpected moment away. And perhaps, just perhaps, closer than you have ever imagined. So before we move on, I want to leave you with one final question. If tomorrow morning brought the answer you've been praying for, would you be ready to recognize it, or would fear convince you to walk away? Think carefully about your answer. My dear friends. Have you ever noticed that life's greatest turning points rarely arrive with loud announcements? They don't always come with fireworks, dramatic music, or unmistakable signs. More often, they arrive quietly, hidden inside what looks like an ordinary day. That is why so many people miss them. They spend their lives waiting for a perfect moment, while overlooking the small moments that quietly lead to extraordinary change. Think about a traveler walking through a dense forest. At first, every path looks the same. Every tree appears identical. Every step feels uncertain. After walking for hours, the traveler begins to wonder if the journey is leading anywhere at all. But then, without warning, the trees begin to separate. Light breaks through the branches. A breathtaking view appears that could never have been seen from where the journey began. Life often works the same way. The path only becomes clear after you've had the courage to keep walking. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been grateful for something that, at first, looked like a disappointment? If your answer is yes, write "I kept going" in the comments. Someone reading those words today may find the strength to keep moving forward. One of the greatest mistakes we make is believing that progress only counts when we can see it. But some of the most important growth happens where no one else is looking. Character grows in difficult seasons. Patience grows in waiting. Wisdom grows through experience. And hope grows every time we choose not to give up. Imagine an old lighthouse standing alone during a violent storm. The waves crash against the rocks. The wind roars through the night. To anyone watching from a distance, it seems as though the storm has complete control. Yet the lighthouse never stops shining. It doesn't argue with the storm. It doesn't run from the darkness. It simply continues doing what it was built to do. There is a lesson in that. Your circumstances may be loud. Your fears may feel real. But your direction should never be determined by the loudest voice around you. Instead, let hope become your lighthouse. Let courage become your next step. And let patience remind you that every meaningful journey requires time. Now pause for a moment. Think about one challenge you've already overcome in your life. A challenge that once seemed impossible. Today, it's part of your story. Tomorrow's challenge may become tomorrow's testimony as well. Before we continue, answer this in the comments. What is one word that describes the future you're hoping for? Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's healing. Maybe it's joy. Or maybe it's freedom. Whatever your word is, write it below. Sometimes putting hope into words is the first step toward believing it again. As we continue this journey together, remember something important. Not every closed door is meant to stay closed forever. Sometimes a closed door gives us time to become the person who will be ready when the next opportunity arrives. And that brings us to an important question. If an unexpected opportunity appeared in your life tomorrow, would you recognize it, or would you dismiss it because it didn't arrive the way you expected? Hold on to that question. Asterisk, my dear child. Before we go any further, I want you to picture something in your mind. Imagine walking through a long hallway filled with doors. Every door looks ordinary. None of them has a golden sign. None of them shines brighter than the others. They simply stand there, silent, waiting. Now ask yourself this question. Asterisk, if one of those doors held the opportunity that could completely change your life, how would you recognize it? Asterisk. Most people believe life-changing moments announce themselves with certainty. They expect every important opportunity to arrive wrapped in confidence, comfort, and perfect timing. But real life rarely works that way. Many of the greatest opportunities arrive wearing the disguise of uncertainty. They often knock softly. They ask for courage before they reveal their reward. That is why so many people miss them. Not because the opportunity wasn't there, but because fear spoke louder than hope. Take a moment and think about your own journey. Has there ever been a time when fear convinced you not to try? Perhaps you wanted to begin something new. Perhaps you wanted to forgive someone. Perhaps you wanted to take one step toward a dream that had lived in your heart for years. But then doubt whispered. Asterisk, what if it doesn't work? Asterisk. What if I fail? Asterisk. Asterisk, what if I'm not ready? Asterisk. Those questions have stopped countless people from discovering what was waiting just beyond the next step. Here's another question for you. Asterisk, asterisk, have you ever looked back and realized that the opportunity you ignored was exactly the one you needed? Asterisk, asterisk. If that has happened to you, write asterisk, asterisk, I learned asterisk, asterisk in the comments. Your experience may help someone who is standing at that same crossroads today. There is something remarkable about hope. Hope doesn't promise that every day will be easy. Hope simply refuses to believe that today's difficulty is the final chapter. Think of a farmer planting seeds. The first day brings no harvest. The second day changes nothing. Weeks may pass before even the smallest green leaf appears. Yet every morning the farmer continues to care for the field. Why? Because the farmer trusts the process even when the results remain invisible. Life often asks us to do the same. To continue showing kindness when it seems unnoticed. To continue learning when progress feels slow. To continue believing that small, faithful steps matter. The world celebrates instant success. But lasting transformation is usually built one quiet decision at a time. Maybe your biggest victory this week isn't something dramatic. Maybe it's simply choosing not to quit. Maybe it's deciding to believe again after disappointment. Maybe it's taking one small step instead of waiting for perfect certainty. Never underestimate the power of small decisions. Entire lives can change because someone decided to make one phone call. Read one page. Offer one apology. Accept one invitation. Or simply begin again. Let me ask you something deeply personal. Asterisk, asterisk, if fear disappeared for just one day, what would you finally have the courage to do? Asterisk, asterisk. Don't overthink it. Write your answer in the comments. Someone else may read your words and discover the courage they were searching for. Now imagine yourself standing in front of that hallway once more. This time, instead of rushing past every door, you slow down. You begin paying attention. You notice details you missed before. You realize that wisdom often grows in quiet moments. Patience teaches what hurry never can. The answers we seek are not always found by running faster. Sometimes they are found by seeing more clearly. And perhaps that is the lesson this season has been trying to teach all along. Not to live in fear of tomorrow, but to become fully present today. Because the choices you make today quietly shape the story you'll tell tomorrow. As this chapter comes to an end, I want to leave you with one final thought. The next opportunity that changes your life may not look extraordinary at first. It may arrive through a conversation you almost ignore. A person you almost overlook. An idea you almost dismiss. Or a moment that seems completely ordinary. So keep your eyes open. Keep your heart steady. And above all, keep moving forward. Asterisk, asterisk, my dear child. Before we take another step together, I want you to stop for just a moment and think about your own life. Have you ever noticed how one small decision can completely change the direction of your future? Sometimes it's a conversation you almost didn't have. Sometimes it's a person you almost walked past. Sometimes it's a simple yes that opens a door you never expected. And sometimes it's the courage to keep moving forward when every emotion tells you to stop. Many people spend years waiting for a dramatic sign. They believe that when the right opportunity comes, it will be impossible to miss. But life doesn't always work that way. Some of the greatest opportunities arrive quietly, disguised as ordinary moments. The people who recognize them aren't always the smartest. They aren't always the strongest. Often, they are simply the ones who stayed awake to possibility instead of surrendering to discouragement. Let me ask you something. Asterisk asterisk, has there ever been a moment in your life that seemed small at first, but later changed everything? Asterisk asterisk. If your answer is yes, write asterisk asterisk one moment asterisk asterisk in the comments. Your story may remind someone else that even the smallest beginning can lead to an extraordinary future. Now imagine standing at the edge of a river. The bridge in front of you looks old. It doesn't look impressive. It doesn't promise certainty. Yet the only way to reach the other side is to take the first step. Many people never cross that bridge, not because it is unsafe, but because fear convinces them to stay where they are. Comfort can quietly become a prison. Growth almost always asks us to leave something familiar behind. That's why courage is so important. Courage doesn't remove uncertainty. It simply refuses to let uncertainty make every decision. Think about your own journey. How many times have you surprised yourself? How many times did you believe you couldn't keep going, only to discover strength you never knew you had? Take a moment and answer this in the comments. Asterisk asterisk, what is one challenge you've already overcome that once felt impossible? Asterisk asterisk. Someone reading your answer today might find the hope they need to face tomorrow. Here's another thought. Imagine carrying a lantern through a dark forest at night. The lantern doesn't light the entire path. It only shows the next few steps. Yet those few steps are enough to keep moving. Life often gives us just enough light for the next decision, not the entire journey. And perhaps that's intentional. If we could see every twist and every challenge ahead, many of us would never begin. Instead, we grow one step at a time. One lesson at a time. One ordinary day at a time. Now I want you to reflect on this question. Asterisk asterisk, what would you do today if you believed that even your smallest act of kindness, patience, or courage could shape someone else's future? Asterisk asterisk. Leave your answer below. Your words might become the encouragement another person was hoping to find today. As we come to the end of this chapter, remember this. The biggest changes in life rarely happen all at once. They begin with one decision. One act of faith. One conversation. One moment of courage. And while you may not see the full picture yet, every meaningful step you take today becomes part of the story you're building for tomorrow. So don't rush. Don't compare your journey to someone else's. Keep walking. Keep learning. Keep believing that small, faithful choices matter. Because in the next chapter, we'll discover why the moments that seem the most ordinary often become the ones we remember for the rest of our lives, and how recognizing them can completely change the direction of your journey. Before you go, I have one final question for you. Asterisk asterisk, if you could encourage the person reading the comments after yours with just one sentence, what would you say? Asterisk asterisk. Write it below. You never know whose day you might brighten with a few sincere words. My dear friends, if you've stayed with me this far, I want to thank you for something. You chose not to rush. You chose to keep listening. And sometimes, that simple decision reveals something important about the kind of person you are. You are still searching. You are still hoping. You are still willing to believe that your story has another chapter waiting to be written. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever looked back on your life and realized that a moment you once called a disappointment eventually became a blessing in disguise? At the time, it didn't make sense. You questioned it. You wrestled with it. You wished things had happened differently. But months, or even years, later, you understood that if events had unfolded the way you originally wanted, you might never have discovered the strength, wisdom, or opportunity that followed. Life has a remarkable way of revealing its meaning little by little. Rarely all at once. Think of someone climbing a winding mountain trail. From the bottom, they cannot see the summit. The turns seem endless. The climb feels exhausting. More than once, They wonder whether it's worth continuing. But with every step, the view quietly changes. Not dramatically. Not instantly. Just enough to remind them that they are no longer where they started. Maybe that's where you are today. You haven't reached the place you're hoping for yet. But you are no longer the person you were when this journey began. And that matters. Take a moment to think about this question. What is one lesson that a difficult season has taught you? Write it in the comments using just a few words. Your answer might become the encouragement someone else has been searching for today. Many people measure progress only by visible results. A promotion. A new opportunity. A major breakthrough. But there are victories that never make headlines. Learning to forgive. Choosing peace instead of bitterness. Finding the courage to begin again. Refusing to let disappointment define your future. Those victories deserve to be celebrated too. Imagine an old compass carried by a traveler. Storms may hide the stars. Clouds may cover the sky. The road may disappear for a while. But the compass continues pointing in the right direction. It doesn't remove the storm. It simply helps the traveler keep moving despite it. Perhaps hope works the same way. Hope doesn't promise an easy road. It reminds us not to lose our direction. Now I want you to pause again. If someone who feels discouraged were sitting beside you today, what would you tell them? Leave your answer in the comments. Sometimes the encouragement we offer someone else becomes a reminder our own heart needs to hear. As the journey continues, remember this. The future is not shaped by one perfect day. It is shaped by many faithful decisions made on ordinary days. One kind word. One honest conversation. One act of patience. One choice to keep going. Those moments may seem small today. But over time, they become the foundation of a life filled with purpose. And here's one final thought before we move forward. The road ahead may still hold questions. It may still contain uncertainty. But uncertainty is not the same as hopelessness. There is always another page to write. Another lesson to learn. Another opportunity to notice. So don't let today's uncertainty convince you that tomorrow has nothing new to offer. Before we close this chapter, I have one final question for you. If you could give your younger self one piece of advice in just one sentence, what would it be? Write it below. Asterisk, asterisk, my dear friends, asterisk, asterisk. As we continue this journey together, I want to leave you with a thought that has stayed with countless people through life's most difficult seasons. There comes a moment when hope is no longer just a feeling. It becomes a decision. A decision to keep moving even when the destination isn't visible. A decision to keep believing even when the results haven't appeared yet. Think about the sunrise. No one can rush it. No one can delay it. The world remains quiet until, little by little, the darkness begins to fade. Life often changes the same way. Not all at once. But one small moment at a time. Perhaps you've been searching for one dramatic event to solve everything. Yet what if the next chapter of your life begins with one simple choice you make today? Maybe it's choosing forgiveness instead of resentment. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you've been avoiding. Maybe it's beginning again after convincing yourself it was too late. Let me ask you something. Asterisk, asterisk, what is one decision you've been postponing because of fear? Asterisk, asterisk. Share it in the comments using just one sentence. You may discover that many others are standing at the same crossroads. One of the greatest lessons life teaches is that courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is taking the next step even while fear is whispering in your ear. Imagine a traveler carrying a small lantern through the night. The lantern doesn't reveal the entire road. It only lights the next few steps. Yet those few steps are enough to continue the journey. Perhaps that's all we need today. Not every answer. Not every detail. Just enough light for the next faithful step. Pause for a moment and think about your own journey. How far have you already come? It's easy to focus on the distance still ahead. But don't forget the obstacles you've already overcome. The person you are today knows things that the person you were a year ago could never have imagined. Growth is often so gradual that we fail to notice it until we look back. Here's another question for you. Asterisk asterisk, which word best describes the person you want to become? Asterisk asterisk. Write just asterisk asterisk one word asterisk asterisk in the comments. Maybe it's asterisk asterisk kind dot asterisk asterisk. Maybe it's asterisk asterisk patient dot asterisk asterisk. Maybe it's asterisk asterisk brave dot asterisk asterisk. Or perhaps asterisk asterisk faithful dot asterisk asterisk. Your answer might inspire someone else to keep growing. As we close this chapter, remember this. Every meaningful journey is built from ordinary days. Ordinary conversations. Ordinary choices. Ordinary acts of kindness. When those moments are lived with purpose, they become the foundation of an extraordinary story. So whatever tomorrow brings, don't underestimate today's small decisions. They may become the turning points you'll one day look back on with gratitude. And before we end, I want to leave you with one final reflection. Asterisk asterisk, if someone who felt completely discouraged were watching this message with you right now, what words of encouragement would you share with them? Asterisk asterisk. Leave your answer below. Your words may become the reminder that someone else has been hoping to hear. Thank you for staying with me through this journey. Sometimes the greatest change doesn't begin when the world around us changes. Sometimes it begins the moment our perspective does.